I'm Lenrod Nzulu Baraka, founder of Afro-Caribbean Spiritual Teaching Center and Trojan of Kush Publications. These two organizations are dedicated to creating a paradigm shift in Black thought. The main objectives of these two organizations is to challenge people of African ancestry to think outside the box of Eurocentric thought. Afro-Caribbean Spiritual Teaching Center and Trojan of Kush Publication seek to achieve their objectives by publishing video material on YouTube and other online platforms, writing and circulating print articles in the Caribbean, the wider African diaspora, and on the African continent, and publishing and marketing a series of books entitled Secrets Your Church Won't Tell You on Amazon and other platforms. Two new books have been added to the Secrets Your Church Won't Tell You series. These two books are The Black Paradigm, New Thinking for a New Age, and Echoes of the Ancestors, Black Spirituality in the Information Age. Other books in this series include The Future of Africa and the Caribbean, The Rebirth of Black Civilization, Making Africa and the Caribbean Great Again, Oreos, Coconuts, and Negropeans, Rediscovering Our African Identity, Out of Babylon, Why Black People Should Leave Most Churches, Fortified Chicken Broth for Black Souls, Is God a Moral Monster? The Church That Changed Its God, The Rise and Fall of Seventh-day Adventism, and The Grand Failure, How Christianity Became a Force for Evil in the World. The entire series is available from Amazon Kindle Store as downloads or as hard copies. Just type in amazon.com/author/Leonard Phillips or Lenrod Nzulu Baraka in the Amazon Kindle search bar. The Jewish prophet Hosea reminds us that nations and people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. A knowledge revolution is therefore the most urgent need among people of African ancestry. I invite you to join me today and become a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem. Welcome back. In the first presentation, Two Christianities, the Spirituality of the Christ, we made a number of points. Now, since we're doing a series, we try to connect the dots. So I'd just like to do a brief review of what we said in the first presentation. To begin with, we said that Jesus has a God. We also said that according to Jesus, his Father was the only true God. Thirdly, we made the point that Jesus is subordinate to his Father and God both before and after his incarnation. We also said that according to the Apostle Paul, idol worship is the same thing as worshiping principalities and powers. Another point made is that Lucifer and other principalities and powers were worshipped in the ancient world. We also said that the Israelites worshipped the Babylonian triad of Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz at some points in their history. And lastly, we raised the question, and that question was, is it possible that the majority of Christians past and present could have been worshipping Lucifer, masquerading as the Trinity God of Christian theology? Now, this is the fundamental question I'm going to be dealing with in this series. So let's dig a little deeper. In Isaiah 14:12-14, we are introduced to Lucifer, who is also known as the light bearer or the morning star, hence the name Lucifer Morning Star in the television series called Lucifer. In part 1, I said that Lucifer has a God fixation. That is, he wants to be like the Most High, or at least like the Son of the Most High. Jesus, unlike Lucifer, by virtue of the fact that he is the only begotten Son of the only true God, has what I like to call the God gene. In the natural world, when a lion has a young lion, the baby lion is born with lion nature. When an elephant has a baby elephant, the young elephant is also born with elephant nature. When a man has a son or daughter, the son or daughter has human nature. So here's a question for you to contemplate. When the only true God has a son, what kind of nature do you think the son of the only true God will have? Now, if your answer is the divine or God nature, then give yourself a pat on the back. You're 100% correct. Lucifer, unlike the only begotten Son, is a created being who does not possess the God gene. The Bible is not explicit about the root cause of the great war in heaven mentioned in Revelation chapter 12. But I suspect that Lucifer staged his rebellion because he could not enter into all the counsels of the Father and his only begotten Son. It is of interest that the prophetess in the Adventist Church, Ellen White, whom the leaders of the Adventist Church would like us to believe became a Trinitarian and led the Adventist Church into the Trinitarian path, she makes this statement, and she agrees with what I said just now, in that she said that only Jesus could enter into all the counsels of his Father. Now, if you look at the quotation, you will see that she calls Jesus the begotten Son of the eternal Father, and she states categorically that only Jesus could enter into the counsels of God. Now, this is a statement that no true-blooded Trinitarian can agree with. If there are three co-eternal, co-equal, consubstantial beings, then all three should be included in whatever counsels of God there are in heaven. But yet the Adventist prophetess says that only Jesus, not Jesus and another God called God the Holy Spirit, but she says only Jesus could enter into the counsels of the Father. Let's look at Revelation chapter 3 and verse 21. This verse tells us that there are two thrones in heaven. In this verse, Jesus says that he has a throne and his Father has a throne. Again, this is bad news for the Trinitarians. If there are three co-eternal, co-equal, co-equal, consubstantial beings, then there should be three thrones in heaven, yet Jesus only seemed to know about two. It is interesting that the Adventist prophetess Ellen White affirms that the Father and Son alone are to be exalted. This statement again disqualifies Ellen White from being a card-carrying member of the Trinitarian fraternity. And so all you Adventist pastors who are preaching the new wine about praying to and exalting another God, whom you call God the Holy Spirit, you're really making your prophetess Ellen White look very bad. The great first century Christian preacher Paul of Tarsus predicted that after the death of the pioneers of the Christian faith, infiltrators and apostates would change the fundamental principles of truth, write books of a new order, establish a new organization, and introduce a system of intellectual philosophy. Paul adds more detail about the apostasy that would occur after the death of the pioneers of the Christian faith in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 3 and 4. In these two verses, Paul states, he said, there would be a falling away from the genuine faith. The man of sin, or the mystery of iniquity, the son of perdition, would be revealed. The man of sin would exalt himself above God. Man of sin would also claim to be God. In other words, Paul was saying a new God would be introduced into the Christian faith. Now, who did we learn has a God fixation? That's right, Lucifer. Whoever the man of sin or the son of perdition or the mystery of iniquity is, you can bet your testicles or ovaries that Lucifer is behind the attempt to create this new God and achieve his ambition of worship. Now let's leave the epistles of Paul and fast forward to the apocalypse of Jesus that was written by John and is called the book of Revelation. In Revelation 13:2, we read about a system called the beast. In this verse, we are informed that the dragon gives the beast its power, seat, and great authority. Who's the dragon? I'm glad you asked. Let John himself tell you. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. The dragon is the old serpent called the devil and Satan. Now, every good Christian knows that the serpent in the Garden of Eden was Satan, or the artist formerly known as Lucifer, that old charming chap with the God fixation. So let's put it all together. Paul says there would be a great apostasy. The apostasy would culminate in the rise of the man of sin or the mystery of iniquity. The man of sin would exalt himself above God and claim to be God. The beast system in Revelation would get its power from Lucifer, and we know that Lucifer is the being with the God fixation. Which brings us right back to our million-dollar question. If the apostasy that occurred after the death of the pioneers of the Christian faith could result in the establishment of a new God in Christianity who would sit in the temple of God and receive worship as God, and if the beast system in the book of Revelation, which is successful at attracting the worship of the whole world, has the dragon, the serpent, Satan, Lucifer as its power source, is it possible that the early apostasy in the 2nd and the 3rd century and the terminal apostasy in the book of Revelation are all about the worship of Lucifer in a form that looks like the worship of the only true God that Jesus came to reveal? Stay with me as we continue to explore this fascinating subject in part 3 of this series. I'm Lenrod Nzulu Baraka, founder of Afro-Caribbean Spiritual Teaching Center and Children of Kush publication, reminding you that there's so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that it does not behove the rest of us to talk about any of us. Asante Sane na Kwaheri, which is Kish Swahili for thank you very much and goodbye.